Welcome to the Pathways to Profitability podcast, personal tales of business success. Are you feeling stuck improving your profitability? Learn from fractional business professionals how their services move your profitability needle. Here's your host, Cheryl Mucha, CEO of CFO Your Way.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. I am super excited for our guests today on Pathways to Profitability podcast, Ethan Bull, president and co-founder of ProAssisting. Ethan, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know your co-founder is your wife, so I want to talk about that a little bit. But just welcome and give the audience a little bit about who you are, Ethan Bull.
Thanks for having me, Cheryl. Yeah, my name is Ethan Bull. I'm a career executive assistant. I was working in New York City for over 20 years as a high-level EA in entertainment and advertising. And as you said, my wife is also a career high-level executive assistant, and she supported executives in high finance and fashion. And in 2018, we decided to launch our own firm, ProAssisting, which is a remote fractional executive assistant service company. And we've been doing that for the last 6 years.
Well, congratulations on the 6 years.
Thank you.
Let's just touch really quick, because I've never had a guest who has been running a business with their spouse. So how is that?
We do it really well. Stephanie and I communicate really well, and we did
important.
prior to starting a business.
Mhm.
And when we launched the business, it was initially an effort to find both of us clients, which we did rather quickly. And then beyond that, we started adding assistants and adding clients, and we kind of have our two wings of the business. And that separation makes it really doable, I think. She really assists me in terms of the strategy and the tone and the higher level aspects of the business, while I am more on the bookkeeping and the interviewing assistants and sales side of the business. So we've really structured it well.
And complement one another, right?
Yeah. I definitely overshot my coverage with Stephanie.
Lots of interesting conversation around the dinner table, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So just share with the audience, like, what's your superpower? What is the business all about? Where do you make a difference in your clients' businesses?
Well, the tricky thing is that when you hire an executive assistant, determining that exact ROI isn't a straight line.
Right.
And there are I would caution that there are different ways to define profitability when you're working with an assistant. Obviously, the assistant can save you money if they are price checking on flights or hotel room, or claw back that late charge with their beautiful personality when they speak to that representative. But more importantly, it's about giving the principal or the business owner back time.
Right. Time is money, right?
Absolutely. And whether they spend that time to strategize and market and sell for their business, or keep current clients and customers happy, or if they're leveraging that time outside of the office to recharge their batteries and connect with their family. So leveraging the right-hand support of an executive assistant can give you multiple aspects of that return on investment.
Yeah, there's so much there, and business owners don't think about the time it takes to do the things, right? Until they no longer have to do the things and they see how much time they have.
Well,
So
and a lot of those things are done on a monthly or weekly
right.
basis that compound over time. And the impediment that we always see there is the quote unquote, I can do it faster myself.
Right.
And we have to encourage the principal to slow down before they can speed up.
Right.
And by slowing down, that gives them the time to actually train their assistant in the way they want it done, how they want it done, when they want it done, so that the assistant can meet those expectations.
Right.
And then the principal never has to think about it again. Getting over that hump, though, can sometimes take time and cajoling. But what we find is that once the principal reaches over that hump, then they're thinking of all these other things
Right.
they can expand and get off of their plate.
Right. It becomes an investment in time in a person, and the return on that investment in time is more time.
That's that. Do you want to work for ProAssisting? I have some sales calls later today.
Maybe my next career. I'm wearing too many hats right now, Ethan, but
No,
thank
that's
you.
great.
I'll
No,
keep it in mind.
absolutely.
But I mean, that's with any professional in the fractional world, or even any employee. If you take the time up front to invest in that person and show them how you want it done, and this, teach them some skills to help them be efficient in those things, it just builds a long-term relationship.
Yeah. I think we're in a world of SaaS, software as a
Mhm.
service, and I have to continually remind people we're not software.
Right.
We are a person-to-person business. And there comes some negatives where, communication might get missed, or understanding may not be on the same page. But then the benefits are, this person will have legacy knowledge about you and your business over time that will pay dividends. They'll know that, you do not like to have meetings before 10 a.m. on Wednesdays because that's your workout time.
Right.
They'll know all aspects of your family and how you interact with them and how that affects business
Right.
and your schedule. All those little things matter, but it is a human to human business rather than, let me just pay this monthly fee and I've got this technology that
Mhm.
doesn't need training, that doesn't need trust and
Right.
partnership. If that's what you're looking for, there are some probably AI bots breathing down our necks right now, but I think the aspect of hospitality and service from the human side is going to still be around for a long time.
Yeah, and my mind is going, and I was going to talk about the human aspect of it, right? We need, in today's world, we need more human-to-human interaction. With AI bots and all this other stuff going on, we're losing those connections. And I think they're so important, especially in a business. I mean, family is one thing, of course, you need that connection, but in a business setting, you need those touch points and those conversations to happen.
I like to say how when someone walks away, I'm not talking about the principal, but when someone walks away from an interaction with an executive assistant,
Mhm.
the goal is to have them walk away and say, I don't know what it was, but Stephanie was a really good executive assistant
Right.
there, or she really got me the information I needed. I feel taken care of.
Right.
And that is human. And
Exactly.
we're not there yet from a technology standpoint. Um, that being said, I've been blown away by the leaps and bounds that artificial intelligence has made since, you know, November of 22 when
Right.
ChatGPT shook the world. So yeah, but we lean into the human side. We really feel our goal is to take the service of being an executive assistant and transition it into hospitality.
Right.
And that comes from people like Danny Meyer, who runs Shake Shack and is a world-renowned restaurateur, to
Mhm.
Bobby Stuckey, who's a sommelier out in Chicago and preaches hospitality um, every day, and we agree with that.
That's great. So What makes your business unique? So I know, but tell our audience, because I know there's virtual assistants and whatnot out there. So what makes your service unique and how you service your clients?
Well, Tim Ferriss made the term virtual assistant, I think, famous in 2007 when he released the 4-Hour Work Week. And he was talking about virtual assistants overseas who, frankly, could work for $5 or $8 an hour and handle your multi-million dollar business. And over the years, the US virtual assistant base has built up, and they've kind of taken that similar model, but up the pricing to say $45 or $50 an hour. But yet those companies are comping their assistant about, you know, 20, 22, $24 an hour. And for Stephanie and I, two high-level executive assistants who had comp ranges well into the six figures, there was no place for us. And there was no way for business owners to get access to that high-level EA support um, fractionally or part-time. And so we saw that gap and we said, what's a fair price to charge? And then how much of that can we truly pass on to the assistant so we can attract high level talent, keep them for a long time, and partner them with great clients who understand the value. We are more of a niche in the space. Given that business model, we are a little bit more expensive, but we like to compare ourselves to hiring a full-time employee versus coming to ProAssisting and getting the right size support you need.
Right. And I love that you brought in the value word, because that's what we bring as fractionals. No matter what vertical we're in, the fractional model, based on all of our experience and all of our talents, bring that extra value, which substantiates the cost, right? It's an investment. It's not just sign a contract for a service. It's an investment in the future of your company.
Yeah, I mean, the way that fractional has sprung up, you're really erasing the geographical lines on the map, getting access to really high talent,
Right.
and not needing all of them. And there are a lot of small and medium-sized businesses doing sub 20 million in revenue that don't need a
Right.
full-time chief marketing officer or full-time CFO or
Right.
full-time assistant. And you know, we place immense value on the legacy knowledge that can build up within a fractional with a specific business
Mhm.
over time that is really hard to replace and get someone
Right.
new up to speed with. We place a lot of emphasis, as you said, on the experience and having done it for hopefully decades.
Right.
Um, and we also place value on the exclusivity, and meaning that you know, fractionals who take themselves seriously know what their bandwidth is.
Right.
And it's not a scaling game of let me get all the clients.
Right.
And in that respect, if you find the great fractionals that are out there, you're going to get that worth, that
Right.
value.
Yeah, it's a bandwidth game, not a take on everything that you can just to increase revenue, right?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
that's always been my methodology, right? Hire first, train, and the work will come later. But
Right.
when the work comes, you already have someone that is experienced, can bring the value from day one, and now has been trained in how we work with our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we're in a little bit different situation because uh, the executive assistant role is kind of like the bookkeeping role or the IT role. I saw bookkeeping and IT as kind of the two roles back in the early 2000s that kind of pushed when one of my go-to IT people told me he was leaving the ad agency to go work for clients instead of bosses and do
Right.
it from his living room. And I never believed that I would be able to be in that position.
Right.
Um, so, you know, we're in a position where we can add assistants and add clients and make sure the assistant meets our requirements,
Right.
both from a work history perspective first, and then more from the soft skills, emotional intelligence, work ethic, hospitality, under
Personality.
personality, understanding what our role is, what that we see through our eyes, and then making sure that the clients follow those rules. With higher level C-suite fractionals, that becomes a little bit more difficult. And I've been noodling with the idea, and we're in a networking group that absolutely does this.
Mhm.
It's about trying to create a cohort or a group of like-minded, say, fractional CFOs who feel comfortable passing referrals back and forth to then either potentially share in that revenue on a recurring basis,
Right.
um, to where you can smooth out the times when you lose a client
Right.
or when you're full. Um, and that's still kind of, I think, the crux of what may hold a lot of people back from taking the jump, making the leap.
Right.
Um, but a lot of times with assistants also, I encourage our assistants to take their current employers and make them their first client. And that's another way to kind of ease the shift, if you will, into this new world.
Right. And it makes sense from the client's perspective too, because A, the fractional model works. We've proven that, right?
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
and I think this year has been it's just grown leaps and bounds. But rather than find and train and feel comfortable with a new assistant, knowing your life, right? Your business and your personal life, you
Right,
already have one that knows and
right.
can now do it, do the things, right, super efficiently. So it totally makes sense at a fraction of the cost, right?
Yeah, fraction of the cost, and, we can also expand and contract as needed,
Right,
the way that our model works. And that's part of the discussion around, um, which who are we going to partner this client with on the front end? Are they, you know, a, a one-third resource client that could potentially get to two-thirds or 50%, and then that may affect, or are they just, no, this is what I need. If you
right,
can handle this, I can go a long time like that, and then okay, great. That opens up other opportunities.
right. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit because I want to talk about your book. So you are an author of the 29-hour workday, co-authored
Co-author.
with, yep, co-author
Yeah.
with the same wonderful wife, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So just tell us a little bit about the book and what and I think I want to know too, or I want to hear like why? Why did you become an author? Why what made you decide to write a book?
Well, we really, honestly, the book, we feel, complements our business. Um, it is basically an instruction manual for how to leverage a high level executive assistant. We outline the five, what we call performance multipliers, that we feel great executive assistant support falls under. And that would be being a business partner, being a chief of staff, being a project manager, being an assistant slash scheduler, and being a personal assistant. And anything that an assistant can do to give back their principal time is a win. And so we wrote this book to be an instruction manual, either for principals who have an assistant and want to make that relationship better, or for principals who don't have an assistant yet and want to know how best to think of and leverage their support.
So super simple, right? Read the book, know the
Yeah.
things, and call Ethan.
Yeah. Well, no, it's great. It's great when I get on a, I don't look at them as sales calls. It's a consultation because
Right.
I don't, we're looking for long-term partnerships. And so it's a dance wondering, are we the right fit in terms of what
Mhm.
your needs are? And if your needs are not the right fit, I have enough information where I'm going to point you in the right direction to get what
Right.
you need.
Right. Back to
Um,
the networking group, right? And building
yeah.
trust in the
But
networking.
when someone jumps on that call and has already read the book, I'm like, "Wow." And they're like, "Yeah, I see 2 areas or 3 areas that your book told me I need an executive assistant for."
Right.
And honestly, those calls last 12 minutes,
Right.
and they're like, "Okay, send the agreement. When can we
Right.
start?" That's always nice, but, it's it's very humbling when someone comes to the table with that under their belt, and so we're grateful, and it's been a great it's been a great asset for our business.
Right. It certainly supports you in your sales process.
Yeah, and now we are also doing the Pro Assisting Academy, which we've run 2 cohorts, and we're launching it more as a standalone program side of the business where we're taking career-minded executive assistants
Mhm.
and really going behind the scenes on what it's like to support a billionaire, because that's where, or the CEO of a billion-dollar company, because that's really where mine and Stephanie's experience lies.
Right.
And we say an assistant is an assistant is an assistant, meaning you can be an administrative assistant doing senior level executive assistant work. Um, and there's no barrier. It's more of a mindset and
Mhm.
an understanding, and those soft, squishy things, the emotional intelligence,
Right.
the work
Being
ethic,
human.
being human, keeping your own score,
Right.
all of those things.
So my next career, executive assistant.
No, we're gonna keep you right on the path you're on. I would encourage that.
So Ethan, just quickly for our audience, where can they find you? Your website?
You can reach us at proassisting.com. I'm also active on LinkedIn, and yeah, you'll be seeing more postings on LinkedIn. I'm very happy to say we landed on the Inc. Power Partner list for 2024 in 4 different categories, and they asked for 3 testimonials from 3 clients, and the maximum was 10, and I'm thrilled to say we had 10 clients
Oh,
reach
wow.
out to them and sing our praises. So I'm grateful for our clients, and I'm grateful for Inc. for recognizing, and that's been that dropped last week. So we're really happy
How
about that.
exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
quite
you.
an honor, right?
It is. It is.
So, Ethan, thank you so much for this great conversation. You've given our audience so much food for thought. And to our audience, reach out to Ethan. He's a wealth of knowledge and willing to have those conversations. So, thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. I really appreciate it.
So, to our audience, thank you so much for listening in. I hope that you gleaned some great information here. I know I did, and I know Ethan, and talk to Ethan on a regular basis. So there's always tidbits, always great information to learn and find out. And feel free to reach out to Ethan. Cheryl Mucha, Pathways to Profitability podcast. Listen in on all our episodes. This is episode 50. So congratulations, Ethan, for being number 50, and have a beautiful day.
That's it for today's episode of Pathways to Profitability. Remember to ask yourself, where can I pay my success forward today?